But let's move on to I talked about this last week where I wanted to do a breakdown of them, or at least talk about them. We have not at all, for some reason, talked about the Dallas Stars in the past, 5-6 episodes of the Post podcast. Hey, last week we talked about Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman, and right next to one of the best goalies in the league is Jake Oettinger of the Dallas Stars here, and I promised everyone I would kind of talk about him, and here's my little Jake Oettinger appreciation post. Oettinger is having a career high year, and we haven't talked about him or the Stars this season yet again. He's got a 2.40 GAA, which is second career best and sixth best in the league, and a .920 save percentage, which is career best and fourth best in the league, with a 27-9-0 record. Oettinger has solidified his spot as a starter for Dallas with 49 games played so far this season compared to his backup Scott Wedgwood, who's played 18 games. He was part of last year's debacle on goaltending for the Stars when they had Braden Holtby, Antoine Hudobin, and Scott Wedgwood all fighting for a spot. He would get the starting spot in the playoffs after Dallas got in as a wild card versus the first-place team Calgary Flames, where he would help force 7 games but would not be able to push past the Flames and the first round. He would have an incredible 1.81 GAA and .954 save percentage during that series with one shutout as well, stopping 272 shots of 285. In Game 7, he would have 64 saves, capping off an incredible series where he set one of the best goaltending in franchise playoffs and NHL playoffs history. To add to that stat, Dallas would only have 28 shots on goal in that Game 7. I've talked about how good defense and offense helps boost the confidence of goaltending, but it goes both ways. The Oettinger situation has been and how he's been playing, I guarantee you, has been one of the massive boosts for the Stars team and organization to do what they've been doing this season. Get ready for a team and goalie that understands what it takes to win a playoff series this year that didn't get in by a wild card, but by being the best team in the Central Division and 7th overall to finish the season strong, and to show the league how far they've come since last year's first round exit in the playoffs. That $4 million AAV Oettinger's getting is looking like a steal for the Dallas Stars this season. And last week I wanted to talk about him, but I never got around to it. And I think Oettinger has been straight from Boston University, has really fucking solidified his spot. And I actually forgot about, when I was digging in a little bit, I was like, oh yeah, it's right. They had fucking 5 goalies all fighting for a spot. Braden Holtby got out injured, Antoine Hudobin, Scott Wedgwood. They picked up Scott Wedgwood in the middle of it. You're like, all right, so what the fuck's going on? And here's Jake Oettinger just all it takes is really a playoff series for an organization to be like, oh, damn, dude. All right, yeah, we could see you as the future of the organization.
I think it was more than just that. Going into the playoffs last season, he also played 48 games. He's played 49 now this season. So this guy's workload is fucking insane. Mm-hmm. Last year, 48 games in the NHL, 10 games in the AHL for a total of 58, 2.53 and a .914. So a little bit worse than this season, but just that massive workload. You don't usually see, here's our starter, the backup's going to get 20, 30 games. That's crazy to me.
Nuts.
To just give him that kind of workload, $4 million for that. I think that's great. But I do feel eventually, he's going to have to come back down to earth, I think. You can't just ride a guy 50 games a season and then expect him to go on a massive playoff push to bring you guys to the Stanley Cup Finals, you know?
There's maybe been a handful of goalies that could fucking do that in NHL history. Is Jake Oettinger the guy? I don't know. But yeah, dude, he is just putting in fucking work for the Dallas Stars, and you're definitely seeing it right now with how good they've been playing this season. It's been unbelievable. From last year, wild card spot to again one of the best teams in the West and seventh as a team overall in the NHL is kind of a fucking crazy 180 for this Dallas Stars team, just in my opinion.
Yeah, what's nuts to me too, we've talked pretty poorly about the West, about how weak it is, and compared to the East, but these teams are starting to heat up. I talked about the Wild earlier, 8-0-2 in their last 10. I got the Kings 7-2-1 in their last 10. The Colorado Avalanche are coming back and getting healthy, 6-3-1 in their last 10. I think those guys are going to start to catch their pace, get their stride. The Kraken are still maintaining. The Golden Knights are still maintaining. Like, it's a very tight race out west now too, but it's really just the top 8 teams are in and the bottom 8 are out in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of wiggle room. Like, and same thing in the East. Like, it's really starting to separate like the men from the boys per se. So
Yeah.
I think like it's really going to come down to like, do you care that much about your seeding towards the end of the season that you're going to play Jake Oettinger and not rest him?
Right.
Or do you rest him, drop a couple seeds, and now get ready to ride Jake Oettinger in the playoffs and hope that he can beat a better team than you would have been matched up against if you didn't rest him?
Right.
So I don't know.
And I love Scott Wedgwood. I think Scott Wedgwood, he's been bounced around the league just in general, but I think he's just a solid backup just to have. He's not a starter by any means, but just a solid, very positional backup to have. But here's my thought when we're talking about a guy who's played, Jake Oettinger, who's played like all these games. Like, what happens when he gets hurt? Like, what happens now?
You're shit out of luck and you turn into the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yep, I think so too. That it's like that Thatcher Demko situation that they have in this year, where Thatcher Demko went unhurt, and hey, you fucking scrambling to get something going. So, I
think that's why the majority of teams in the NHL are now a 1A 1B tandem.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. It's not like. No,
it's not feasible.
Yeah, exactly. You can't whatsoever. Like, you gotta rely. You gotta have a reliable backup, and again, a huge what am I trying to say? A huge example of that is Jeremy Swayman and Linus Ullmark situation, where you're just like, that's 1A 1B tandem right there. Both are starters, and they're both just playing out of their fucking asses here. Who's the other two? The Antti Ranta and Frederick Anderson too, for the Carolina Hurricanes. That's 1A 1B right there. It's just you got to have that fucking tandem. And again, like what I said with Scott Wedgwood, he's a solid backup, but he's not a starter. So if Jake Oettinger seems to get hurt or something happens, you might see a Dallas Stars start to struggle here. But just an appreciation post just for him in general, because I hope he doesn't get injured at all. I'm not hoping anything bad for him, but just in general, his career, just ever since like leaving BU to come to the NHL, has been fucking unbelievable. And within 3 seasons with the Dallas Stars, he's really fucking solidified his spot and is just taking that starting spot. So just all out appreciation for Jake Oettinger here.
There you go.
That was my little breakdown for everyone. I guarantee there was more. There was really more, but I'm just like, fuck, we're gonna be here all fucking day. So I can't wait to see this dude just in action and see where he takes the Dallas Stars organization here.